Loving another woman, whether you're lesbian or bi, should never be a reason to feel afraid, but the fear is still real. That constant fear of losing the love of the people who raised you just because you're being true to who you are. It's like living two versions of yourself, one that breathes love and truth and another that holds back tears every time someone asks, "So, do you have a boyfriend?" Coming out to your family and saying you love another woman is overwhelming. Your heart tightens, trying to guess if you'll be met with love or rejection. So many of us, lesbian, bi, or queer women, carry this secret, wondering how to say it out loud, or if we'll ever find the courage to talk about our sexuality with our families without breaking everything around us. What truly weighs heavy is the fear of never being accepted by the people we love most. This video is a space for you to feel all of that, a space to remind you that you're not alone in this difficult and maybe even life-changing conversation with your family. Some people think coming out is like flipping a switch, as if you can just say, "Okay, today's the day I tell everyone." But it doesn't work like that, especially when it comes to talking with your family. You don't have to justify your feelings to anyone, but you do deserve to be heard with respect, without interruptions, without your truth being treated as confusion. This is not about convincing your family of anything. It's about choosing to express yourself with honesty when you feel ready, not when others expect it from you. When you feel pressured to speak, the conversation starts from a place of fear, and it rarely ends in freedom. This isn't about proving yourself. It's a deeply personal act of courage. You're not asking for permission to exist. You're sharing something that's part of who you are. And that deserves empathy, not judgment, not shrinking yourself down, not begging for acceptance. What you feel matters, and no one has the right to take that away from you. Only someone who knows what it's like to carry this fear understands how heavy it is to hear. These days, everyone's accepting. Like your pain is just drama. The fear that your family won't accept that you're lesbian, bi, or that you love another woman is real. The fear that your love could become a reason for distance is real too. But above all of that, what matters most is knowing this conversation is yours, on your terms, in your time, and realizing that changes everything about your next step. Deciding when to talk to your family about your sexuality is a deeply personal choice. There's no exact timeline, no ideal age, no step-by-step manual. The right moment comes from an internal balance between courage and care. First, ask yourself if your environment feels safe, if there's emotional support or a history of prejudice, and whether you're emotionally or financially dependent on these people. These questions aren't signs of weakness, they're acts of self-protection. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about knowing if you have a strong enough foundation in case their reaction isn't what you hope for. This moment is vulnerable, and vulnerability needs solid ground to grow. That ground might be a group of friends, your therapist, or even a journal where you've written what you haven't had the courage to say out loud. Having somewhere to lean on makes all the difference. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that coming out has a positive impact on well-being when emotional support is present. In other words, saying that you're lesbian, bi, or queer, that you love another woman, isn't the first step. The first step is building a support system that strengthens you from within. And once that foundation is in place, it's time to turn inward and begin preparing, gently, for whatever comes next. Talking to your family about your sexuality is one of the most emotional moments in the life of an LGBTQIA+ woman. Being emotionally prepared is just as important as knowing what to say. Conscious breathing can help calm your body when fear shows up. Writing often about your thoughts, feelings, and reflections, especially before the conversation, can help you organize your ideas, name your emotions, and figure out what you truly want to express. Besides writing, try rehearsing the conversation with a trusted friend. This can help you notice where your voice shakes and where you feel more grounded. It's not about practicing to please anyone. It's about helping your mind feel more present when the time comes. And if you feel a tightness in your chest during this process, that's okay. You're getting ready for something that touches your identity, and that deserves care. Another way to feel stronger is to seek out support in safe spaces like forums, videos, or online groups. Hearing the stories of other women who've gone through this can remind you that you're not alone and that there are many ways to live your truth with more courage. I grew up hearing that loving another woman was wrong or just a phase, and finding the right words became a layered challenge. You don't need to show up with a perfect speech, you just need to speak with honesty. Start by expressing how much your family means to you. Something like, I want to share something personal because you're important to me, and I want to be honest. This kind of approach helps the other person listen without feeling attacked. The tone matters just as much as the message, and your calmness can open doors that anger can't. If a tough question or a homophobic comment comes up, take a breath before you respond. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any explanation. Telling your family you love another woman isn't about debating, it's about choosing connection. What you say in that moment is about claiming your right to exist with dignity. This conversation is hard because it carries fears of rejection, guilt, and shame. But it's also a chance to show that loving another woman doesn't take anything away from you. It just brings you closer to who you truly are. The most important thing is to speak from your heart, and even if you're scared, you're planting a seed. And some seeds bloom in the most unexpected ways, in the timing of the one who hears. It's natural to imagine 1,000 different outcomes before talking to your family about your sexuality. But what most people don't say is that their first reaction doesn't define the whole story. Some moms cry at first, then come back with a hug. Some dads stay silent for weeks, then gently ask if you're happy. For many families, hearing their daughter say she's lesbian, bi, or queer triggers a kind of grief, not because they don't love you, but because they were taught to expect a different story, and that takes time. A negative reaction doesn't always come from a lack of love, but from confusion, fear, or ignorance. It doesn't excuse it, but it helps explain it. You don't have to accept disrespect or harmful words, but understanding that some people need time to unlearn their beliefs can help you stop carrying pain that was never yours to begin with. What matters most is knowing that your identity doesn't change just because someone else doesn't understand it. Your truth stays whole, and while some doors may close, others will open where you least expect. Sometimes what begins in silence ends in a hug, and that hug doesn't always come from the family you were born into, but from the chosen family you found along the way. When someone in your family looks at you and says, "It's okay, I just want you to be happy," it feels like a weight is lifted from your chest. That kind of acceptance is what so many of us hope for, and when it comes, something shifts inside. It rebuilds an old bond, this time with more truth. You no longer have to hide or edit parts of yourself, and that changes how you relate to each other. It's important to recognize when there's space to nurture that connection. To honor that gesture, keep the dialogue open and include your family in your life when it feels safe and healthy to do so. All of that helps strengthen this new chapter. And when that acceptance does show up, It deserves care, but sometimes acceptance doesn't come with a hug, and that's okay too. There's always a chance the response won't be acceptance, but rejection. And that pain is real, deep, but it can also be transformed. If your family can't accept you right now, that says nothing about your worth or about the love you feel. Being rejected for loving another woman doesn't make you any less worthy, less strong, or less deserving of love. Sometimes what needs to change isn't who you are, but the space where someone tried to shrink you. In moments like this, affirming therapy, support groups, and community spaces with other lesbian, bi, and queer women can help hold you up when the world feels like it's falling apart. You can build your chosen family, the one that sees you, hears you, embraces you, and responds with care. That family exists, and you have every right to be part of it. Remember, the most important acceptance is the one you build with yourself. When you look at yourself with compassion, outside rejection loses its power. And sometimes it's right there, where someone tried to erase you, that your strength begins to bloom. Saying you love another woman is still an act of courage, and that's why it shouldn't come from a place of panic. It deserves to be shared with care, in your own time, in your own truth. Speak when your voice isn't seeking approval, but connection. Even if you're unsure, even if you're afraid, even if talking to your family was hard, this is a space created with care, without judgment, shared with other lesbian, bi, and queer women who are also on this path. This love is a beautiful part of your story, and it deserves to be lived fully, even when the world tries to reduce you to quiet, hidden pieces. If this video touched something inside you, share it with someone who might be trying to speak their truth, but hasn't found the space yet. Sometimes, a message like this is exactly what she needed to hear. Subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments, what would you say if fear wasn't holding you back?